So since Bart Lattimore is on this podcast, it's going to be probably like a 4-5 pour podcast.
Whatever needs to happen, I'm ready.
I heart drink.
In a world filled with things on the internet, 2 men, 1 podcast, 2 pours.
The 2 Pour Podcast, baby.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome, and thank you for joining us here at the 2 Pour Podcast Studios here live in Indian Trail, North Carolina. Got some great people here, incredible guests with us today, who I'm going to give a long introduction because he deserves a long introduction.
Facts on it.
This man is an ex-coworker of mine, a friend of both of ours for years. He's a travel partner to Mexico, lead singer for the band Old North State. Check them out. Peanut Patch brand ambassador. He's a father. He's a husband. All around great gentleman. Boylan Bart Lattimore.
Let's go.
Welcome, my friend.
Seriously, thank you guys for having me. That was awesome.
Yeah, we really appreciate you joining us too. It means a lot. It means a lot to us.
Wouldn't miss it.
Thank you. Sure. Thank you. Yeah, man, changed your schedule around to be here. So
that is
we really appreciate it. It means a lot to us. I do want to give some shout outs for sure. Justin from Rose Chauffeured Transportation in Charlotte. I mean, Rose has been all over the place. You probably see their charter buses, party buses, and all that kind of stuff. But Justin's the head mechanic over there. Great dude. Has been listening to every single podcast, showing us love, and learning a lot from it, surprisingly. People are learning from this.
They're listening.
So, it's great. Taking notes and everything like that. So we really appreciate your support. Really appreciate it. Wanted to give one more shout out. And we don't normally, touch on this, but the pastor, Dr. Mike Whitson of First Baptist Church of Indian Trail, in the last 3 weeks, he celebrated 40 years of service in the ministry. Just won the Longleaf Pine Award, which is the highest civilian honor that a North Carolina citizen, can earn.
Which is also our first single off our first album is Longleaf Pine.
Really? Are you serious?
Yeah.
Wow.
That's
Longleaf Pine. Let's go.
Well, see,
Let's talk about it.
I knew that. That's why I put that in there, right? And also opened up Congress in D.C. 2 Thursdays ago.
Shout out Pastor Mike.
Yeah,
Pastor Mike doing his thing.
So doing it. Has done a lot for the community in Indian Trail. Regardless of religion or anything like that, he's done a lot for the community. He's brought schools. He's brought help for the homeless. He's brought help for the less fortunate, help for kids who are troubled and have things that they're dealing with. So a lot of stuff, a lot of good things.
Man of the community, right?
A good man of the community.
Love that. Love that.
Good for him. And you got a couple shout outs as well?
Firehawk Brew Pub over there in Mount Holly. Great people over there running that. Go and check them out. If you're in for a nice cup of joe, a nice cup of bean, you want to go over and see the Humble Cup in Fort Mill. Very good people that are running that, trying to facilitate that. Anybody in the Charlotte or surrounding areas that are coming up and they're taking a leap of faith, trying to put their money into a dream, I think it's only the right thing to do to put that money back into their pockets, right?
Yeah.
Versus going on Amazon, versus going to these bigger companies that are already well established. Let's look out for people that are on the come up.
Yeah,
on the come up.
And we're going to continue to talk about this. I mean, the people out there who give everything they got to chase their dreams.
Yeah.
I mean, man, 100% support for that.
It's weird that you're saying that, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not looking to segue into something like that, like we wrote this, because we didn't. This is all
this is not scripted for sure. You've been listening to the last 30
literally
minutes.
Right?
Yeah.
There's a guy, right, across the plains, right, who's doing music, playing his guitar, doing all these kind of things, who just so happened to be sitting, with us. Right?
This guy.
Who just decided that he just wanted to make this a part of his life and his career, man. My hat's off to you because of the fact that we've done music. You know us in our earliest parts of our career trying to make music, and then trying to help, and facilitate something for the public, for people to come out and perform and freestyle, and DJs to come out and DJ Tommy Tom was the fucking greatest. I will never not. Tommy, yeah. I'll never not tell people in Charlotte, North Carolina, that he's not the greatest. But then DJ K Nice came in and he stepped in from the heavy hitters. But you were always a part of that, and seeing us from the jump try to do something. And we didn't just try, we did. We succeeded. We put an album out, the Next Level album, right?
Yeah,
I've seen it all.
Yeah.
Right? Next Level Records. And then to see you jump in, like sometimes this is a hip hop night and we got this country dude jumping in. We'll talk about it in a little bit.
Yeah.
I'll let you go.
Get to
I
it.
just had to say something about it because the segue was too nice.
It's great, yeah. And I'm gonna tell another story later on too. But I mean, and I'm not just blowing smoke, but man, honestly, I told you this from the very get go. Like you're one of the best singers that I've ever heard. Like, I'll
second
that.
that.
I love it. And just the ability to play instruments and be able to construct songs and things like that on different levels, man. I mean, for somebody like me who cannot do it. I love it, man.
Got some soul
man.
to
Very 100% support. So what I want to do is on this, since we got a lot to talk about with Bart.
Come on.
I don't want to breeze past the bourbon,
You don't want to breeze past
but
it.
I want to talk about it. I want to devote more of our time to this man right here and his story because I want to get the full story of Bull and Bart Lattimore. I want to put it out there.
I agree.
So today, our bourbon of the episode is Clyde Mays Straight Bourbon Whiskey. Alabama whiskey. We talked about this. You don't like the story. I like the story.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go into the story of this guy.
Guilty as charged.
I swear, man, every single one. I mean, it's a good story. All right. So Clyde May, real person.
Okay.
From Alabama, born to a single mom just after the Depression. So you can imagine deep South Alabama after the Depression.
Yikes.
That's the poor of the poor, right? Ended up growing up, wanted to do something different with his life, wanted to do something that actually meant something, so he joined the military, served in World War II, actually earned a Bronze Star and a Purple Heart.
Oh, wow.
Wounded in battle, right? Came back to Alabama and started making moonshine. So this guy was bootlegging, you know what I mean? And I think this is the perfect bourbon for Bart.
Yeah.
I've always joked with Bart about just being a rebel. You know what I mean? When I was looking at teenage Bart running around at work and stuff like that, I just always thought this dude is a rebel. You know what I mean? But he marched to the beat of his own drum, and I respect the shit out of that because so many people are handcuffed in life that they can't be themselves, and this dude has always been himself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I love that.
Yeah. I think there's something to say about that for sure.
It definitely is. It's very smooth, to be honest with you. Like, I mean, even like just scent wise, like it's got obviously you get those oaky notes, but it's almost has little smell.
Yeah.
It doesn't have, it doesn't like you get even like an Eagle Rare. It's a
little bit more pungent too.
Talking about 92 proof here.
Yeah, it's right there.
Right?
Yeah.
92 proof.
Yeah, the taste is so much deeper than the smell. I get that. It's like, you smell, it's like, what is this? And you taste it like, oh man, that's a good smooth bourbon.
Yeah, for sure.
Of course,
good pick.
Yeah, and they have different styles too. But just a little bit more on this guy's story. He was actually at one time titled the most wanted moonshiner in Alabama.
Wow.
Right?
There's something to say about that.
Notorious. This guy's notorious. Clyde May's notorious. Ended up going to prison, serving 8 months. Got out of federal prison, and then started making whiskey.
There you go. And now look at him.
And that's actually the official state spirit of Alabama.
Wow.
Right there. Clyde May. So,
here's to Clyde May.
I was about to say.
Clyde Mays. Right?
Cheers to Clyde Mays. All right. So we're going to enjoy this bourbon as much of it as you want to partake in.
Yeah, I told these guys this might be a four pours podcast because I really enjoy bourbon.
Well, we've joked about it, but it's early on. We haven't had one yet, so this might be it. But no, honestly, Bart, man, your story to me, is pretty deep, right? And you come from a family who were in kind of like that acting and music and stuff background. Man, take us back to little Bart, right? And your influences, what you grew up around. Like, how did you gravitate to music early on, or?
I guess I always kind of did. To be honest with you, I owe most of it to my mom because she saw, even at a young age, she saw some talent there. She knew that I had a mental grasp on music as a small child.
Okay.
And so our first my brother got MC Hammer cassette tape, and she got me Bob Marley Legends. You know, like that was my first album was Bob Marley Legends, that greatest hits album.
Yeah.
And sorry, I got.
No, it was for.
Oh, is it for you? I thought I had something on my face. My bad, bro.
You're good. I've always wanted to wipe my face with your mouth.
With my beard juices.
We're getting close. We're getting close on this episode.
Yes.
Yeah.
Continue on. I'm sorry, guys.
But anyways, like I say, man. She knew that she gave me. I feel like, and you know what, my mom's gonna listen to this and be like, "Nah, I didn't do that. That's just what I picked out for you."
Yeah.
But I feel like she picked music that would kind of push me more into being a musician. You know, like if you're trying to turn a young kid on to music to be a musician, you don't buy him an MC Hammer tape. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You buy him the Bob Marley. You know?
Yeah, I mean, and you want to probably expose that person to different types of genres and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
I would say listening to your music and your catalog of music, your lyrics that you have, you're very deep. You're very deep rooted in what you say and what you mean. You don't have a ton of ballad type songs. I hope that doesn't come off disrespectful, but you have a ton of songs that I feel are you got something to say, right? Yeah. And whether it be about like I think it's Carolina Sky or that one, just hearing what's coming out of your dome piece and what's coming out of your pen has always been something that I've thought was very cool from day one. Listening to him, this young fucking kid with a guitar that's gonna sing a song. It's like, what's he gonna sing? Some substantial lyrics coming out.
It's funny when we talked about this at first, like unbeknownst to Bart. Like I'd already heard Bart sing, and I'm like, man, you don't know what you don't know what's coming.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? You're like, what? And then he saw Bart. I was like, really? Because it was at one point where you almost were on a different, like more of like a, I don't know, kind of like a preppier look.
Absolutely.
When you were singing and stuff like this, and even when it goes back to like the whole American Idol and going down there and like, what did I ask you? What did you wear? And what did you sing? Right,
and
you were pissed. You were mad
wrong.
at me.
Both were wrong.
Both were wrong.
Damn, he hit the buzzer twice.
And I was like, man, I would have not had you.
So what did you wear for the? So you tried out for American Idol?
Yeah, what was it, 2005 or 6?
I think earlier than that, maybe.
So
what did you wear?
A long time ago, I know.
No, I don't want to jump off this.
Here's what I wore, dude, and I know exactly what I wore, and it was the thing is.
Now you tell me what you say, yay or nay, right?
Yeah.
And for one, it was nothing that I never wore that going out to the clubs or hanging out with my homies, or I wore a bright yellow polo shirt with a New York Mets hat, like fuckboy style, like tilted like this, white, almost capri shorts, stark white, and Air Force Ones.
Wow, so something that you would never fucking wear in your life.
I've never seen any of those things on him.
People call me in real life DJ Barty Bart, but
hi guys, I'm fresh off the yacht at Cape Cod.
What'd you sing?
I sang I don't even remember the name of it. I don't even remember the lyrics of it, but it was an old blues song that was I can't even remember the name of it. You wouldn't know it if I told you.
Okay.
It was something super obscure.
I thought you sung an R&B song.
It was a blues song.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And it definitely had more of an R&B vibe. And dude, I was trying to be something that I wasn't.
Yeah.
And that's why they could see right through it.
Was it more of what you thought you had to be performing in front of them?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Instead of just being the you that we all know.
And I'm to this day, 20 years later.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm still fighting that. Like, I'll stop myself and I'm like, hey, are you writing this because you think people want to hear it, or are you writing it because you believe in it?
Right.
You know?
And you're talking about you in the process of
absolutely.
You creating.
I still have to tell that little kid with the fuckboy hat on is still inside of me. And I have to tell him, like, yo,
shut up.
Get out of here.
Get out of here. Take a back seat. Yeah.
So that's never gone away. And you know what? I attribute that. That's insecurity.
Right.
That's me being insecure in what I do. If I'm writing something and I feel like I'm writing it to impress somebody, then it's not genuine.
It's not organic, right?
Absolutely.
It's not organic.
Well, there's been so many conversations, and I think it's becoming so much more of a focus now in life. I know for me, is I want to be around people genuine. I don't care. I don't care what your views are. I don't care what your beliefs are. If you're genuine, you got a seat at my table, because at least I know you're real.
Yeah.
You know,
You got some passion behind what you're saying.
Yeah, that's right, man. And the whole passion about, like, I believe in this. I believe in the music. I believe in what I'm doing.
So I want to jump in. I love the fact that you're so human and that you're so fragile, right? Enough to say, like, man, you've been doing this. You've done over 100 shows, right?
Oh, well over.
Okay, so you've written over 100 songs, right?
I've always said that I probably write between 75 and 100 songs a year, and I keep 12 of them.
Right. Now listen. Listen to the point I'm getting at here. That you would call that somebody a master of their craft, right? Once you hit a certain number or whatever like that, he can write a song and play the guitar. You can get up in front of 10 people, or I would say you could get up in front of 10,000 people and still do your thing, sing your heart out. Yeah. But there's still that dude before you get up on stage, like, damn, am I wearing the right shit? Is my my boots? Yeah. Or I don't know what goes to your head,
or the nerve's still there.
That right there for me. Just hearing you say that, but even if I didn't know you, if I didn't know you from a can of paint, knowing that those facts and that data exists, and you still get fucking nervous and you still get worried, that to me, I think is why you're gonna keep on doing such great music, right?
I think if I lose that, then you kind of lose the point of doing it. You know,
I agree.
That feeling that you get, that nervousness, that angsty.
Yeah.
Like you want to jump outside your body, you know. Like if I lose that, then I'm doing it for the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
And not only that, I want to touch on this real quick, because this is something that I've always full-heartedly believed in, and I did it at Gerald Affair. I did it at and I'll do it everywhere.
Yeah.
I played a birthday party one time for a guy. There was probably 10 people there. Mm-hmm. And every bit of me wanted to phone it in, you know, because I didn't want to be there. I was doing it for money. Mm-hmm. And I got there, and the 10 people, they were sitting around and they were so excited to see me play. Mm-hmm. And even to the moment that I stepped up to the microphone, I'm like, I'm going to phone this one in. Like, I'm going to get this over with. Yeah. And when I looked at them and how excited they were, I'm like, I owe it to these 10 people to show them what I do.
Yeah. That's cool.
So I never, 100 people, one person, I put myself in the position, in the mindset that I was in when I wrote that song.
That's good. That's good. That's a difficult place to be sometimes when you get, all right, have you ever wrote a song, you know the song like the back of your hand, song's got a real even tempo to it, and then you get out there and you push too hard. You make it not sound like the record. You make it sound completely different because you're not grasping the energy.
Absolutely, dude. My band's gonna watch this and be like, he does that all the time.
I gotta reel myself back now.
You know, it's for being a front man, that's difficult to harness it. It's difficult to understand that of the way it's supposed to sound this way. Absolutely. Because you're going that way, right? Yeah. So it's very difficult, I think, for you, and I'm just throwing this out there, for you to understand that, man, even though you're feeling it, right, it might not be projecting the way you think it's projecting in your body and your soul while you're singing. I think it's important sometimes to see a singer go nuts a little bit on the stage during a show, right? But I also think it's way more awesome to hear it sound like the record.
Yeah.
Because that's why you're coming to this. Like, if you're, let's say you are a fan of Bart Lattimore, fan of Old North State, and I want to hear that song, and then you come out there and it doesn't sound anything like the record.
Yeah, for sure.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, you know what that does for you? It goes, hey, man, I remember that one time I played in Raleigh, Durham. My band was mad as fuck at me because I just screamed the whole song. Well, you know what? That's just a learning. That's a stepping stone for you to get a better kind of mindset. Be a master at your craft.
Well, yeah, and you go on to the next show and try to get it better, but the people who came out to see you,
Right.
like that might have been the one time they got to see you.
Well,
you know, so they're like, well, you know, I don't really have that great of a, you know.
And if you look at Old North State's, so what we've put up as far as music, we released an EP, and I wanted full production. So we hired a lap steel player, we hired a harmonica player, we hired a fiddle player. Like we got all these great players to come in. I call them choir backup vocals. You know,
Wow.
like we were doing all kind of layers and layers and layers. And then we released the EP, and people would come out to our shows, and it didn't sound like that. You know?
Okay.
So with our first album, we all sat down and we were kind of at an impasse. We're like, I don't, you know, it's like we like the tracks, but it's not us. It wasn't us.
Okay.
So I said, here's what we'll do. I said, we'll find the best live studio in Charlotte or surrounding area, and that's Susu Studio, by the way. Good drop on them. Susu Studio, they're out of Charlotte. Look them up. They're awesome. They got the best live room I've ever played in.
That's great.
Shout out to them for sure.
And I said, let's get in there. We didn't even play to a click. I said, no headphones, pull the click out. I said, give me a monitor and put just a little bit of vocal so it doesn't bleed over too much.
Okay.
And we sat down or we stood there and played our entire album all the way through the way we would play it live.
That's phenomenal.
Shoot.
That's fun, and that felt more organic. It felt better for you and the bandmates, or what?
It felt better for us, but I think it was a better representation. So if I'm out at a bar or I'm out hanging out somewhere, and you know I'm plugging my band, which I do quite often.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
And I'm like, hey, go check us out. When they go listen to that live album, that's what they're gonna hear whenever they come see us live.
Yeah, that's important.
And actually, so this last show we did in Carolina Beach, our videographer, you know, it's real hard to get live sound to not be muddy, you know.
Sure.
And that was the great thing about having this live album, because he shot one of our final single off that first album. I was like, man, it's really muddy, and he was like, well, you recorded a live album, and we've played it so many times that he just dubbed the live album, and it fit perfectly. Perfectly. You know?
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, that we're breaking things down to the basics, you know? Like I wanted Old North State to be this concept band where we're all about North Carolina, huge production, lots of instrumentation, lots of pizzazz. And then we got it back, and it's like, oh, it's a great EP.
Sure.
But it wasn't us.
Yeah. Well, the fact that you could recognize that, there's so much of this over pride, over people are just so, this my mute, you know, and it's like, dude, it's okay sometimes to be like, man, you know what, it's a great EP. What, my favorite though.
Yeah.
And like as an artist, for him to say that, that shows that growth. That shows that, because listen, every single album that you're gonna do is Old North State. I want y'all to get that Old North. Listen, man. Hey, we've done three albums. The first album, man, it was a bit rough. I'm not saying that. I'm just I'm kind of generalizing. No, I'm right. But for you to be able to do that as an artist, and not to put you ahead of the other members in the band, but you're that face of the band.
Well, I will say this though. Shout out Dave Whitley, because he is the one that was like, why don't we cut all this bullshit out?
Right.
And he's like, dude, when we play live, people, they're eating out of the palm of our hand, because we've done it. It's so many times, you know, we know our places, we know where we're supposed to be, we know our marks. He was like, why don't we cut all this bullshit out and record a live album?
That's a great idea. So that was the best idea ever, right?
Oh yeah, dude.
So what did you think the first version of that was? What are you saying? What are you going to put a label on it? Like too commercial, too artificial?
Absolutely, too commercial, too artificial. And dude, I have a really hard time playing to a click track. You know, because
explain what that is.
Yeah,
for the people who don't understand.
So a click track
Metronome,
it's a metronome.
Okay.
And it's in your ear going, and it's aggravating as hell. And actually, when we do play some stuff, we do play to a click. I'll get them to replace that annoying tick tock to a kick drum and a snare drum. So it's like boom, ba, boom, ba.
Yeah.
Okay.
Instead of that really high piercing thing.
So the same principle, just different sounds.
And another thing is, so like when we're recording this stuff, we think we get the beats per minute right, and then we record the whole song and we listen to it after it's been everything, all the stuff's been done to it, and all the production's done, and then it's like it's too slow. And it's like I remember asking our engineer, it's like, so do we, can you speed it up? And he's like, no, it doesn't work like that. He's like, you can, but it'll distort your voice, all this other stuff. He's like, if you want to do it again, we just have to start over from scratch.
And do it again.
And that's why I was like, hell with all that. I said, let's just go in there like we're playing a live show,
That's good.
And it worked out better. All the songs, they come across the way they're supposed to come across,
Yeah. So with the same influence and situation that you're kind of writing about.
Yep,
You know what I mean?
absolutely.
So that's a good point now. So creating music, and I've seen both of you guys do this. And I mean, what you said about you in the studio, I've seen him work like that in the studio. So both of you got like the utmost respect. I think both of y'all put something together. I think if both of y'all put something together, it'd be powerful.
Do need to do
you know what I mean? I would love that.
I would always be down for that, by the way.
I would love to be a part. I would love to even just be a witness to that one. But so, what is your kind of steps, thought process? Is you want to create a new song? Where is it coming from? Where's the influence coming from? And how do you go about creating a song?
So I think my what I consider my better songs. I don't have any process or control, because it comes to me, and when it comes to me, I have to sit down and get it out.
Is it lyrics first for you, or is it the
That's a great
Well,
question.
that's another thing. So we've been doing this for I've been doing this for 20 years. So like
Yeah.
I've done it both ways. To me, my better songs are when I think about something that my grandpa said that's just like
I love that.
yeah, like the I love we're country rock and roll, so Southern idiisms are just they're great for throwing into these types
The bless
songs.
your heart.
Yeah. Like every heart is what we're blessing, whether we like you or not.
I like it. That's true though.
And that's I got that from growing up in the South.
Yeah.
But I've also written songs where I'll sit down and I'll come up with a guitar riff, and then I'll write to that guitar riff. And those kind of, to me, I feel like the ones that I do like that, they kind of fall short a little bit. I mean, they're still good
really?
tunes.
They feel like forced almost.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. When you do it, like when say you got the guitar riff going or whatever like that, do you hum the whatever kind of
Like an accompaniment?
Absolutely.
and then now you got to put words into the way that you're orchestrating that, right?
And usually I'll pick a topic, and I'll run off of that.
Yeah.
When I write like that. But my favorite songs to write are when I'm working or washing the dishes.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think about something. So one song that we're actually is going to be on our next album. I lived in Albemarle, we were 500 feet above sea level.
Okay.
And we moved to Hillsville. We were exactly 2,500 feet above sea level. So I wrote this song, and it's talking about me and my wife jumping into something that we have no idea how it's going to go. We're on our own, and that's moving to another state, taking on new jobs.
The leap, man.
Yeah, the leap of faith.
Leap of faith.
And people are like, what do you mean when you say you're 2,000 feet above everything you know? And I was like, dude, I'm 2,000 feet above everything I know.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's a deep. I mean, no pun intended, dude. That is a deep ass thought.
That's like looking down, like everything I know is down there,
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, when you pull into Virginia, you got that big, beautiful,
Yeah.
and we were riding back up there, moving stuff back and forth, and I looked down. I'm like, man, I bet if it's clear enough, and I look hard enough, I could probably see the Albemarle water tower down there.
Because when you're coming up into the mountains, as soon as you get into Virginia, you can kind of see the Shenandoah Valley,
Absolutely.
down low, and it's such a beautiful view.
Oh, it's amazing, dude.
It's such an amazing view. Does that not get you a kind of the introspective look too? It's like kind of where you came from, so to speak. Like you're looking back at the past and like now I'm here.
Absolutely.
So it's kind of a dual.
Absolutely.
It's got like that dual
I feel
meaning.
that.
But the most important part for me is that like you haven't moved a bunch of different places in your life, have you? Now, when I say move, I'm not talking about house to house. I'm talking about
If you're talking house
area.
to house, bro, I've moved a lot.
I'm talking about general area. Like, there's people I know that have moved from here to Florida, from here to Georgia, but that's not. So going to Virginia was a big.
This was the furthest I'd gone.
So which is something that for me. That's just. It's scary. And you just did this a couple years ago, right?
We did it 7 months ago.
7 months ago.
It's fresh.
Shoot, for someone to live their whole life, 30 plus years of your life, and then take that leap, it's maddening to me. In my head, I'm like, God, but I got this over here, and I got my brother over here, and I got, and you got all these thoughts. But for you, it was that leap. Right. And I think it's the same with music. Sometimes when you rip something apart that you made with your bare hands, and it took you a long time, and it's like, oh, yeah, it's nice. Looks pretty cool. That's all. Looks pretty cool. I fucking spent 3 weeks on this.
Yeah.
And then for you to be able to say, you know what, man, fuck that thing. Bomb, break it apart. And then let's rebuild it. But let's rebuild it the way that I want to do. I don't want to look at this instruction manual and tell me what to do. I want to write this song this way. I want to feel. Let me tell you how I really feel. Right?
Absolutely.
That's hard to do with some people. And when I listen to the lyrics on some of the songs that you've done, if I'm not I'm not a country guy. I don't listen to a bunch of country. I got turned on to Tyler Childers. There was a couple songs, Nose to the Grindstone, White House Road. Then,
which he's a poet,
And he spoke to me, right? And then Jelly Roll, I'm like, Jelly Roll was that dude that you're watching like rap, and he was killing it on these internet little videos and on his songs. And then this dude starts singing, and it's like that Save Me song, and it's like, damn, what the hell is going on? This dude was rapping about selling, drugs, and this man is singing about.
And then 2 years later, he's on the stage at the Grand Ole Opry.
Right?
Yeah.
That's
and
crazy.
winning awards.
This is why I say
Country Music Awards.
I say all that. I say all that to say this to you, right? That took him a long time, right? He's not some young buck, right? Just like you ain't no young buck. Mm-hmm. Who's to say that the moment for Old North State or the moment for Bart Lattimore is not when he's touching 39, 40, and then all of a sudden, bam, all this work, all this universe holding him down. You got to move to Virginia. You got to, how many times have you not written a song for a month? Have you ever gone through that moment where you're just like, man, I don't feel like writing. I'm just going to go to work.
I did. And I'll touch briefly on this. There was a time in my life which, I look back on it and I glorified it too for a lot of my life because I was in another rock and roll band, and we were playing a lot of shows, and people gravitated towards me, and they made me feel like what I was doing was okay, and I got to a point where I was like, going to Virginia, for me it was kind of like, I don't know anybody that if I decided like fuck all this, I'm jumping back off the wagon. I can't do that in Hillsville because I don't know anybody there, and they all work at the same farm together,
And they hate out of towners.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's right. Yeah, you're from around here, boy.
Yeah, right. So but I guess we kind of went off on a tangent there, but I didn't write.
Yeah.
I wasn't inspired, man.
Kind of numb.
Yeah, I was, and I thought I was having fun too, which is weird looking back on it, because I really was like, and you know what? To be honest with you, I did have a lot of fun.
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah, but I mean so I remember, and I think about you when I first met you. You know what I mean? And even when we took a trip together and we went to Mexico in 2007.
Yeah.
And I looked at you almost like a little brother. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like I want, this dude's got so much potential, which is also my most hated word in the English language, because you had everything that you needed to be great, but then it's like, but you got to put it together. I can't put it together for you. Your mom can't put it together for you. A manager or a record label or anything else. You got to find that.
Yeah, for sure.
So I look back at you and I know that there were some troubled moments in your teenage years, right? I remember you going from, living in your car for a little bit of time, right? And then getting an apartment in a side of town you didn't want to get in, that you didn't want to be in, but it was a freaking step in the right direction, right? Yeah. Like you're starting to put it together. So those, I would imagine that those teenage years for you, now I'm making a leap here, I don't know, but I would imagine that there was different inspiration then for you writing your music than there is now. So where, in your teenage years, where was the inspiration? Like what were you feeling when you were writing? Like where was that coming from?
The first stuff that I wrote, and this is a reason why, and if you were to listen to it, you'd be like, oh, he can sing, It's nowhere near. It's nowhere near what I do now. Like the quality of it.
Quality, okay,
and
gotcha.
The reason for that is because I was doing it for I was the kid with the hat that I never wore. I was writing stuff that I thought people wanted me to write.
Yeah.
Back then, I was listening to a lot of. There was a guy. He was big in college radio and stuff. His name was Corey Smith, and he wrote kind of funny, kind of country songs, but they were more like I call it college rock.
Are we talking about? We're not talking about Corey Smith. Like
Corey Smith,
like Georgia Corey Smith.
I don't even know the. Maybe that's one of his songs. Anyway, I was trying to write like somebody else. Is what I'm getting at.
Gotcha. All right.
You know what I mean? And I mean, I was modeling a lot of my stuff after him and other artists too. Like back then, I was listening to a lot of John Mayer, and I was trying to write. That was kind of that preppy era where it took me. I went through a lot of phases before I really found myself.
Yeah, but yourself was there all along.
I know.
You know what I mean? So, but hey, that's okay though.
Appearance.
But some people never recognize that.
Yeah.
Some people never realize that. And that's what I was trying to get at is, you as a teenager, trying to find yourself. Like one of my, if I had to list like some of my favorite songs, half of them are going to be the people I know. I've Seen It All album. Absolutely. Or, You're Gonna Miss Me When I'm Gone.
See, that's a good song too, but that was the first song that I wrote about that I wrote from the heart and not from.
But do you know why somebody like myself loved that song? Because I could tell it was from your fucking heart.
Yeah.
I could feel it. Man. When I see you sing it, you get teary-eyed. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? That was still to this day, my top 10 favorite songs. You know what I mean? I'm hoping, when I was out there last year, X and I out there with a buddy of mine who lives at Carolina Beach, and we saw you perform. Y'all killed it. Did a great job. And the whole time I'm thinking, man, I wonder if he's about to, I wonder if he's going to sing it. I wonder if he's going to throw back a classic, you know what I mean, that I fell in love with back in the day.
I haven't played that song in 15 years.
Well,
probably. But I'll tell you what, I did record it, and I'll send you the recording. Yeah. I do have that track. So.
You know what? I would love to hear that recording, but I would much rather hear that at some point during the show. I want to be in the front hammered drunk listening to that song. I love that song.
You're great. Always in the front hammered drunk.
Yeah.
Okay?
Well, what's funny is
I support my people.
Yeah,
that's why.
That's the most important part.
I've been at the front with your shows.
Yes, I know.
But that it's funny. I hadn't thought about this in years, but just a little side note on that song. You're Gonna Miss Me When I'm Gone.
Okay.
Was who said that? Megan Shook.
Really?
Yeah.
Is that where that
she's
came
like my
from?
god sister. I was living at Hannah's house because I was living in my car, and she let me sleep on her couch.
Yeah.
And shout out to the Shook family.
Yeah,
Shook family.
All of them.
Phenomenal people.
And
absolutely.
Megan and Hannah were like kind of playfully arguing with each other, and she said, you guys are gonna miss me when I'm gone one day. And I was like, oh, there's a song. Yeah. I'm like,
let me go sit there.
I gotta give her props on that one. I stole that one from her.
That's great. That's great. All right, so let's take it now to kind of like the present, right? One of your newer songs that I don't want to say newer, but it kind of is. It's newer to me.
Mm-hmm.
The Hackett and Caroline.
Yeah.
Right. I love that song. I dig it. There's passion on it, but it's newer. Yeah. So what was the inspiration? Because to me, it sounds like you're writing that to somebody. You know what I mean? So who influenced that one? If you could say.
I'll say like this. It started because I was upset with someone who I knew,
Okay.
and they were kind of trying to push their weight around because they had money.
Okay.
And that's where that line comes from. It says, all that money couldn't save you, buddy, if I wanted to stomp your ass.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then it kind of became
thrown hands.
I feel like fighting right now.
I'm
ready.
That song was like that, man. That song's good.
But then it was like I knew that I couldn't write a song about me being mad at somebody, like that, because the content it didn't hold much weight. But there at the same time there were also people who were like kind of questioning whether or not we're country, because we have some pretty heavy songs too. Like Hackett Caroline's a heavy song. I mean,
Yeah.
that's a rock and roll song. I mean,
Yeah.
I wouldn't even call that a country song.
So, all right, and I hate labels, but where are you classifying your music now that you do with the group?
We gave our own classification. So we call it heavy honky tonk.
Heavy,
Really?
Yeah.
Heavy
honky
I
tonk.
dig that. I dig
Heavy
that.
honky
Cutting out your own
That is
niche
pretty good.
right there.
Yeah.
I want a shirt that says heavy honky tonk.
We're actually working on that. We're doing a baseball tee, so it looks like a baseball jersey.
Yeah,
almost.
church softball.
like a 70s style baseball jersey. It says
Nice.
heavy honky tonk on the back.
Yeah. With the colored sleeves.
We're talking about doing that, and then you remember like Dixie Youth Baseball, the little baseball on there. We actually got it's like a patch that's going to go on there. It says Old North State established, 2019, and
Yeah, so people are going to walk up to you, man, what church team you play for?
it's like, no, this is a band tee I bought.
Oh, we're actually a band. You should listen to our music right now.
But yeah, so and that's joking, dude. Cut and dry. We're Southern rock. We've got some songs that are country tunes. How old's too old for honky tonkin' is. I mean, we pretty much just stole that out of Alan Jackson's playbook. I mean,
Really?
if you listen to the guitar parts in that, it sounds like an Alan Jackson tune. Just it's ramped up a little bit, but
Is there any other music genres that influence you guys, that get you going? Like, is there, I'm obviously I'm a hip hop guy, I'm 90s hip hop guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
But again, I'm this Tyler Childers song, or there, whatever kind that got me wanting to write some different type stuff. Has that happened to you? Listen to anything that's not rock and roll, that's not country?
So when I moved back to Albemarle, my hometown, Evie, my daughter, she was she would have been 4 because she was in pre-K. I wanted to start a country band, and I had buddies that I knew from high school, and Dave, who I'd met later. They were all metal musicians. They were only in metal bands. So I'm like, hey, why don't y'all come play country music? They're like, dude, we don't play country music.
And it's funny you said that, because I remember us having a conversation. You were like, yeah, man, I'm doing like some death metal and stuff like that.
I did that for a while,
what
dude.
the fuck? Real Bart, really? You know what I mean?
Because I still love metal too.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, so as far as influences for the Old North State, I mean, they didn't know how to play country music.
Okay.
So I brought the songs to them, and they played it how they would play it.
They just played around it.
And that's what gave us a little bit different of a sound, And
I like that.
I think that's why it kind of resonates with people, because people, especially millennials and Gen Zers, like everything. When we were coming up, you were either a hip hop head, you were a metal head, or you listen to country music, or you know what I'm saying, or you were just top 40 because you didn't know what you wanted to listen to.
Yeah.
Right.
So I mean, you're kind of in that box.
Yeah,
Right.
And millennials and Gen Zers, they listen to everything.
Yeah.
The majority of them, and
And shout out to them too. It's amazing, how much the younger people are almost, it's like it skipped a couple of generations.
Right.
Like when we were growing up, we would listen to everything, and we would get our own kind of style. And then there was a gap there. And then the younger kids now, I mean, like, my son who's 16, I'm taking him to go see Guns N' Roses, with my 22-year-old son.
on.
And we're all going to go to see Guns N' Roses. And that's one of his favorite bands.
Well,
we saw Guns N' Roses in Mexico. Didn't we?
You tell that story.
But no, touching on that, yeah, and it, like especially the Gen Zers, man, you go through their playlist and it's Tyler Childers and Kendrick Lamar and you know, some of them are jackasses and talk shit about Tupac and the old hip hop.
Right.
Yeah.
But most of them, you know, like they get, you know, it's just it's more inclusive. You know,
It's wild to me. Like my oldest son Josh listening to Jimi Hendrix or listening to Bob Dylan.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah,
Bob
it's like
Dylan.
it's like where did you gain the respect for that?
But you
Like,
know what?
That's cool.
But
that's
he
cool
did.
shit.
He did that organically. He did that by himself.
He found it.
He didn't like. I'm gonna tell you straight up. It wasn't in my house. I didn't have Jimi Hendrix blasting on the speakers or whatever. That's just him, you know. And that's nuts. But then you go from that to listening to a
Trippy Red.
Yeah.
Or something.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's the funny thing. Like I'll listen to Christian. You know, Christian will be in the shower. You know, live music playing. You know, so I can hear it. You know, 2 floors over. You know? And it's like, okay, well, there's Tupac. Okay, there's Guns N' Roses. Okay, there's the Eagles. Like, I mean,
what is happening
Like,
here?
where is all? There's Drake. Okay, like where did all this come from? You know, but I mean, good for them. You know, getting the influences there and the
It's
appreciation.
being multi-dimensional, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
it's jumping out of your norm.
But think,
and
think
get a
about this:
broader
when we were young bucks in the '90s, right? The '80s and '70s and '60s. That was not a long time ago.
No.
Do you follow? But then it's 2023. That's a fucking long time ago.
It's a long time.
It's different. It's different now. There's things that age you, right? That's crazy. Like when you look at something, look at Facebook Memory Pub. Hey guys, look at this. Back in 2004, you see this, and then you sit there and you're like, 2004. Take this away.
Yeah, divide.
Shit.
Take the
That's a long time.
carry over the one.
Yeah, that was a long time ago and many pounds ago.
I was about to say we were skinnier. Dude.
You couldn't hack it in Carolina. Well, hack it in Carolina. You better think before you say it. 'Cause sometimes you can't come back. And all that money couldn't save you, buddy. You're writing checks your ass can't cash.
Hey,
Back in the
I need you to shut the fuck up.
all the time. In the daytime, in the nighttime, the ladies love them, the women adore them. Oh. Anyway,
It's me, your president, your commander-in-chief of the world.
You're all welcome.
yes. Clyde Mays, how's the Clyde Mays tasting?
Hey, that Clyde Mays is smooth.
Right.
Yeah, that's good.
I got a little doctor visit, so I can't have any of the bourbon, so I'm just drinking a little bit of this agua, right? A little bit of this
Spring water,
hydration.
fresh from the mountains of North Carolina.
Yes, filtrated through the hearts and souls of the American people. Anyway, you know how we do it.
Hashtag America.
Hashtag America, Charlotte, North Carolina. So I want to take it back to something that it intrigued me so much whenever we were doing Thursday night hip hop at a Gerald Affair back in the day. We're talking about 2004, 2005, whatever it was back then, right?
Yeah.
And you had these songs that you would sing up there, and the lyrics were obnoxious. Now, when I say that, I don't mean obnoxious like they were dumb. They were
I
just
was obnoxious.
perverted,
Yeah.
right? Here, you know,
The stage presence.
oh God, so it was always there. And even back then, he would wear the polos and he had the you know,
Or the button-ups.
right?
Yeah.
But what I want to ask though, you used to be able to sing it like that. Like for hip hop music, and I'm just speaking for me in general.
Yeah.
If you were like, "Hey man, will you spit that one verse you had from Bad Habits?" I'm like, "No," because I don't fucking know it.
Yeah.
But is that just like something you've always had to where you can just like you hear it once, boom, it's embedded? Or?
Absolutely. Especially if I write it, you know, obviously. But I mean, I don't write anything down. I've never written a song down.
Really?
I've never written the lyrics down.
Dude, that's dope.
They're just all right here.
That's
I keep
impressive.
hitting the table.
That's okay.
Shaking them like
Stop hitting the table.
So it's like a photographic memory.
it's gonna get weird now.
It's about,
Not gonna lie,
it's
guys.
about to get weird, guys.
Yes.
You know, that's funny because you know, and I was telling a story kind of off camera, right? And we were, it was you and me, and there was a couple of other. We were up at Lake Tillery, right? We were on the lake. We were, out on the boat and having fun. We get back. It's later in the night. There's some people over there and stuff like that. and we're all just sitting around, and you get on the piano. So this is one thing that like I'll never forget, right? That's the funny thing about stories. Like Jimmy and I will tell stories, and I'm like, shit, I really didn't know I said that.
And I do not know how to play the piano, by the way.
Yeah, I know. So this is the funny thing. Like we'll tell stories, and I'll remember stuff that he doesn't, and he remembers stuff that I don't. So this might be something for you. But I remember sitting there. We're all kind of hanging out at the end of the night, and you get on the piano and you start playing "I Can Be Your Hero, Baby," and I'm like, man, this is accordion. Damn, fuck you, dude.
Every chick is just like,
there's chicks around, you know what I mean, and stuff like that. I was like, man, how dare? I was like, well played, though, well played. But I mean, it was just watching you go from who I believed I knew who you were, if that makes sense, right?
Oh yeah.
Like I mean, I could tell, regardless of what you were singing. Like, I mean, I know that Stanley County, like because I went to school in Stanley County when I was a younger kid, right?
I remember that,
like
yeah.
I know what the vibe is out there, right? So I could see the influence, I could hear the influence, but you also had a little bit of soul in there, right? So I could tell maybe there was some different influences. But then when you got on there and started playing that, I'm like, man, like coming from like, if we're talking about an artist, I can barely draw a stick figure, right? So I give credence to anybody who is a freaking artist, you know,
Right.
who can paint beautiful landscapes and stuff like that. So when you got up,
Right. I forgot to turn my phone off.
that's all right. But when you got on
talk
there,
about the beautiful landscapes.
when you got out there and started playing that, I was like, dang, man, like that's freaking cool how well versed you are and how much of a musician that you actually were.
Well, and going back to like, you know, remembering that kind of stuff, dude.
Sorry.
I sat there at Kelly's house on that wall, that upright wall piano for hours on end, learning that stupid Enrique Iglesias song. And I learned it so that, and literally back then, I'm not ashamed to say this, and it wasn't like getting chicks or anything. That was part of it, but I mean, I learned it because I knew that if we were at a party and, you know, I go in there and there's a piano, then I can make people laugh and smile because they're not gonna expect me to sing that song. You know what I mean?
And for me, like you went up there and did that. Like I didn't know you practiced at all. I thought you were just getting on there and like, oh, I'm just gonna fuck around with the song and like, like do the whole shit.
There
you know
there are people like that.
Yeah.
I'm not that. I practice a lot.
Well, I think that's a good thing. If you look at anything, you look at any of these movies about back in the days, or you think about, you know, one common denominator that always pulled everything together was always music, right? Well, but the one thing that even pulled it more together, and you had to be there for it, was to see somebody get up, a guy or a gal get up and start fucking singing, playing the guitar, playing the piano. The hip hop world, freestyling. Little cipher that's going on or whatever.
I used to do that too, man. I got one hip hop song out there too. I'm not going to tell people what it is because it's awful.
Or where to find
Coming
it.
out,
Yeah, where to find it.
2027.
It's on the new album,
Hey,
Old State.
but it's one of those kind of things that centralizes, right? So it's like, all right, well, we're having a great night, doing whatever we're doing. Then all of a sudden, you hear somebody start playing. Right away, you're like, what the hell's going on over here? And then everybody's attention's there, and you've got this guy or gal in this form. It'll be a guy, if you don't mind me saying. And he's out there playing his heart out, singing his heart out. But being able to do that, sing, and then move on from it to the next deal. And like everybody's having a conversation, the party's still going on. And then what happens almost every single time? Somebody's gonna be like, hey, do you mind will you play again?
Yeah, absolutely.
Will you do it one more time? Is that ever a weird thing when somebody asks you to play again? Do you feel like you have a button on your back or something?
Nah, dude. And you know what? Sometimes I feel like I get that way, and I kind of like have to snap myself back and be like, dude, like somebody wants to hear you play. That's what you love, dude. I love entertaining people.
And it truly
cool.
is. It
That's
truly
cool.
is a compliment,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
I mean that they want to hear something that you created. You know,
absolutely.
But I mean, if you've done it a lot of times, like, how do you keep it fresh? Is there anything that you do that?
I think you learn little tools. Like a really good one is I'll find a cover that people like the Enrique Iglesias thing. People wouldn't expect me to do, and I'll completely change it. Like one of my favorite songs to play all together. I mean, my song. I thought I turned it off.
The dessert wine is out.
That's the 7 o'clock alarm for your medicine.
Yeah, no, that's my brother. Hey, shout out Zach Lattimore.
Zach Lattimore.
I don't know how to
chiming
turn this
in.
phone off. I don't know how to turn this phone off. There it is.
Why don't we take it and throw it outside?
There we go.
Can construct masterpieces, but don't know how to turn a phone off. You know, that's what it is.
So yeah, whatever we were talking about.
But being able to throw in when you were about to say something about your favorite song that you do.
My favorite song that I've ever covered or that I've ever even sang is "To Love Somebody" by the Bee Gees.
Oh wow!
And a buddy of mine, he was like, "Hey man, you should learn this song." And I'm like, "Dude, I'm not learning a Bee Gees song."
Yeah.
And then I listened to it, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna learn this song." And that's like the killer.
Yeah.
Like when I'm playing out, if you know, a lot of times you're playing, no matter how talented you think you are, you know, if you're playing those bar gigs, you're sitting there a lot of times and you ain't getting that vibe. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because playing live music's a give and take, you know?
Yeah.
So you got to change it up. I think that you would kill. I'm trying to find it right now. The "Love Is Happiness" Al Green song.
Oh yeah, that's a great one.
Dude, you on one of your shows next time, especially if you have an older crowd, right?
Yeah.
It's just bust something like that. I mean,
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's like that Bee Gees song. Like, especially if it's an older crowd, because they're like, "What the hell?" I'll give you a little piece of it.
Go ahead.
Here.
Or like it's your show, but somebody screaming out in the background. Like,
he said he was going to give us a little piece of it.
Yeah, I'll give you a little piece of it.
Oh
Go.
yeah.
I'll give you a
Oh
little
yeah.
piece of it.
I'm with it. Yeah.
Let's see. I ain't got my guitar, but it goes, "Well, there's a light, a certain kind of light. Well, that's never shone on me. Well, I want my life to be spent with you, only you. Well, there's a way, a certain kind of way. Well, you're meant to do every little thing. Well, tell me what good is everything. Well, if I ain't got you, oh, darling, you don't know what it's like."
Come on, everybody!
That's a wrap. We're done, guys.
Dude, that is so fire,
That's what
man.
That's what I'm saying.
So
It's
tough.
You
songs like
feel
that.
that, but you
Yeah.
feel that shit, right?
Absolutely,
So,
dude.
hey, man, what kind of inspiration did you get from 90s grunge? Like, did you ever get like Nirvana'd out? Did you like Nirvana? Was that something that did anything for you?
I mean, I liked it, but I don't think I have little, if any, influence from. I mean, I guess some like Stone Temple Pilots and stuff like that.
Sure.
Especially if you listen to our band because we're heavier, but that's just those guys. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like I write all my stuff just me and a guitar.
Yeah.
But I tell you what, dude, I was the only kid in high school that knew every Jim Croce song.
Wow.
Like, I listened to hip hop, and I listened to, like, I love Sublime and Rage Against the Machine.
Sublime
was
is
my favorite band. Rage Against the Machine was my favorite band growing up when I was a kid, you know. But as far as like influences for my music, it was the Eagles. It was my mom's music because we touched on, you know, she got me Bob Marley's Legends. Well, when I was in 9th grade, she could see that I was getting bored, and she gave me her record player and a stack of records, and it was like Leonard Skinner and Jim Croce and Steve Miller Band, and you know, and that's what I was listening to. I put that
Like
on.
masterpieces of music,
Absolutely,
regardless
Eagles.
of man. And you know, that's one thing. Like they're talking about the Eagles touring now, and they're like, well, the Eagles are lame, but if you listen to the albums, and that's just masterpieces.
And
you
my
know, of
my
music.
favorite album they ever did was their biggest flop, which was Desperado album, which it's still
Oh,
sold,
man, I
but
love Desperado.
Dude, that's their best album. It's
Yeah,
so good.
Man, driving down the Pacific Coast Highway, early 20s, listening to the Eagles. I'm like, I don't know if I want to be anywhere else.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You know, hey, that happened.
I don't know. It sounds
for a
phenomenal.
moment, I was there. You know,
I'm just seeing the aesthetics, right?
Yeah.
The light bouncing off it just right.
My long hair. No, actually not.
Mustache only?
No,
Come on.
actually not that either.
Mustache flapping in the wind.
Good God Almighty! So have you ever thought about going and this is this is just a real question. Have you ever thought about going off solo and doing your own thing, or now that you're with Old North State, that's your
Nah, that's the great thing about my guys, man, because I'll bring songs.
Yeah.
And, they'll be like, that's a beautiful song, but that's a Bart Lattimore song. Because, I'm going to release a solo album. I've got stacks of music that I've written. I got to sift through them with my engineer, and he's going to help me pick some stuff. And, because there's some in there that I can kind of change. You can compose anything. It's, it's your piece of music. So like, I can
do whatever you want,
mold it and mix it around to make it work for the Old North State. But I do have some set songs that I'm going to record just me.
There's certain things that happen with artists that I've noticed, especially hip hop artists, where there'll be a song that I might have did back in 2004. I keep going back to those days.
Yeah.
God, it was so good. Right?
Such a great year.
But go back there, didn't use the song. Can listen to the song right now. I'm like, oh, like it. Can't find the beat anywhere, right? Don't know where the producer went. So what do I do with it? There's this thing in my head where I'm like, I don't want to reuse a verse that I already wrote, right? And put it on something else. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's a pride thing or whatever.
I
think that it's one of those that you captured in the moment. So how can you write the same verse 4 years later? You're in a different place. You know what I mean? So you're creating new music.
Yeah, but it almost feels like stealing a little bit. Like if I want to take the song and like let's redo the song and put it together or whatever like that, maybe. But I'm talking about a verse, taking a verse out of a song that you never used before, but you're going to take that verse and reuse it.
Oh wait, I do that. I do that all the time.
Okay,
because like I said, I write. I'm exaggerating a little bit, but I really write probably 50 songs a year.
Right,
okay. 50 to 75 songs a year, and
120 to 140 a year.
I write 4,000,
778 songs. But I'll pull stuff all the time, dude. I'm like, hey, this verse is awesome, but the song's garbage,
Right.
Like, so I have done that.
Right. Well, I think that's, I think it's when you think about the creative process of anything, right? And you try to match them up. Like, do you ever do this way or do that way? I think it's so important in the creative process of writing an album, right? Or writing a song. I always love to have a lot of people around. I thought it was great. Do you feel that and obviously with a band, I'm talking about not just band. I'm talking about people around.
Audience.
Do you dig having that around? Do y'all allow that
while I'm writing?
While you're recording?
We don't ever do it because we don't have that many friends. So.
Yeah. You got a friend in me, right? Well, that answers that one.
Yeah.
I need you to shut the fuck up.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, indeed.
Go ahead.
Yeah. No, the funny thing is listening to your music going on 20 years. You've always been a great musician. You've always been a great lyricist. You've always had a great voice. Listening to you perform last year at the Sea Witch in Carolina Beach, that was the first time where I've said, wow, this band behind him is talented. Mm-hmm. Like it's like you put it all together. You know what I mean? So, I want to give a shout out to them.
Yeah, dude.
Because they were good. They were really freaking good. Like you had the whole package right there. Absolutely. And it was 400 or 500 people there.
Yeah.
And everybody was just going freaking nuts, Yeah. And I got a text from my buddy Terry, a couple weeks ago when you were at Carolina Beach. Was it last week? I know it was here recent, right? 2 weeks?
Week before last.
Yeah, 2 weeks ago. Yeah. And then I just got a random text like 9, 10 o'clock at night. He's like, dude, Bart's here killing it. And I knew exactly, I didn't know what that meant, but I knew exactly what that meant. I was like, okay, he's in Carolina Beach and he's at the Sea Witch,
Yep.
And, that was great, man. So how did that get put together? Like, how did you find these guys? Did they find you?
This sounds like, like a dad joke or something, but literally we were just kind of like, hey, man, if we all get together and jam. And one of the original members, he lived out on the lake. Okay. So, and he was single. He was younger than we were. And, we'd all go over there, and it was like to get away from our wives for a night, because we're like all, we're all new into families and stuff. And we're like, hey, man, let's just go out here, fish, jam. Let's jam. And it was me, Brett Hill, shout out to Brett Hill, and Dave, who is my drummer now.
Okay.
And, it's like we started drinking and fishing, and then we started playing. And it was like, hey, this doesn't sound that bad. You know what I mean?
Right.
Then we got Jason, and we tried out a couple bass players, but we got Jason, and our first, and he just gelled with us,
Okay.
And our first show was at the VFW Hut in Albemarle.
Wow.
Yeah, and shout out VFW. I love
VFW
you guys.
Well done.
Dude, I'm telling you, man. And
looked
but
out.
we were awful. Like, we sucked, bro. Because for one, we needed a guitar player.
Okay.
Because it was just me, and I played electric then. Oh, it was so bad. It was so bad. But we practiced.
Growing
it enough.
pains.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank God for dollar beers.
And then we played at this place called 5 Points, and that's in Albemarle. And a buddy of ours that we all went to school with was there, and he was like, "Man, you guys are good." And we were like, it was like it all clicked. It was like, "Wait, you play guitar? Like, why don't you just come play guitar for us?"
Okay.
And he was like, I think he was kind of like, "Man, I was hoping you guys were gonna ask me that." He's like, "You guys need some help," you know what I mean? But he came out, man, and I mean, dude, we practiced every Tuesday night for 2.5 years straight.
That's
Just like-
phenomenal.
And we would play shows here and there, but I mean, we just did it every week. We we rarely skipped a week.
Consistency.
You know what I mean? Yeah, absolutely.
It's important.
It's important.
And I mean, sometimes I'm ashamed to say this, but it's like we wrote an album. Now there were COVID years too, so it was a little bit different. But it took us 3 years to write that album. For me to write that album.
Yeah.
And I had all this music that I'd already written, but once I heard those guys behind me, I wanted to build the music around the band.
I like
You see
that.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like I've got these songs we can use, but that's just us throwing shit together so we can go play shows. Like let's
Let's make this a band. Let's make this a real collective. Yeah.
And now the cool thing, this is a little bit off, but now since I'm living in Virginia, they're like, "Hey, we got this song. I got this song I wrote. Corey wrote a song, my guitar player, and that's going to be on our next album, dude. It's the best song we do now. I mean,
Really?
all I did was they sent me the track of them playing it. They recorded it at the practice house, sent it to me, and then I just wrote the melody and the lyrics and recorded it at my house. So then send it back to them. Then they can sit there and practice it, and tweak it.
So when you say, just so we're clear here, so when you say that he wrote the song, he wrote the arrangement,
guitar part.
the arrangement
Yeah,
of
yeah.
it, and then you get the lyric side of it.
I get them. I put my melody and lyrics to it.
Okay, good. I just wanted to clarify that because I was going to follow up with the question: would you be against if one of your bandmates were like, "Yeah, man, I wrote this song. It's important to me. I can't sing like you. Here it is.
No,
here's the lyrics. You sing it."
And Dave, my drummer, he wrote one that's incredible too, and we worked on it. And that's kind of what sometimes you put songs back, like, hey, we know, especially when you're ready to produce your next album, because it's like people are like, hey, when's new music coming out? Like,
Yeah.
you guys, 3 years, you guys are the same
bit
album,
here.
you know
Yeah.
what I mean?
About time, yeah.
And so, man, I'm really excited that we got 2 songs ready for this next album, and one of them they wrote, and I wrote the lyrics, and then "Take Me Away," which is my favorite song I've ever written.
Really?
it's like,
Good for you.
yeah, like
Wow. And that's coming out when?
This coming out on this next album.
it's coming out, next album. That probably be another 3 years. So
I was going to say,
It'll be the next
that was trying to
COVID
lead
phase.
into. I was trying to figure out like when we're actually going to release that new
well,
album.
I mean, we'll do it. Here's the thing too about we've learned about music in the industry now. It's like, people still put out albums. I mean, you got Morgan Wallen putting out 40 songs on the album. It's like, you can go the hell on somewhere with that. Like, but I mean, you put out singles, you put out EPs. I mean, and you build around that. So you put out, our EPs should be done before the fall.
Well, good. That's given a good timeline.
Absolutely. And then that way we can, pretty much that's, right at half the album. So
okay.
that's what we're shooting for is.
Okay, so
Right around
we're saying maybe before the end of 2023.
Yeah.
There'll be some new music
you go.
released. There
Yeah.
you go. So stay tuned for
People
that.
want to hear it, man. When you're talking about like what we talk about with supporting your local businesses and that kind of deal, something that I am not talking shit about Charlotte in any kind of frame. There's just not the support that I've seen in the past that should be, put into fruition for people that deserve it. I would love to see you and your band kill it on a national level, on a comfortable level. I want to see you do it to where you can still love it and stay in love with it, right? But see people really supporting you from your homeland, right? From where you're from. I think that you have that support already. It's just about people. Can you, or you're supporting it, can you buy it? Can you go on there and buy that song or that EP? Can you go and show up come to the show, put your money on that deal? God bless you, sir. Yeah. God bless you, right? I have no legs. You remember that movie? Sorry.
And that's the difference in before. I've been doing this forever. I play a lot of live shows. I have for many years. And then people are like, hey man, can you back in the day they're like, you got a CD, bro? And I'm like, nah, dog, I ain't got a CD. Like I just want to come out here and entertain.
Here's my website address.
Yeah, that's the difference with these guys because my music's never been on Apple or Spotify. We're on all that.
Yeah.
Good.
So
well, you got to utilize it. I mean, those platforms are important. They're important to have because people don't listen to CDs anymore. Yeah. Unless you drive a 2007 Lexus 460 LS like myself. I have a CD player in there, and I've been in nostalgia land, listening to some CDs lately.
Well, and that's important though too, right? Like, so there's a change from where you've come from back in the days, and now we're here. Now you're a brand ambassador, right?
Yeah, man.
So we're talking peanut patch now. Yep. We're talking crazy commercials and stuff that are just fucking hilarious.
Cajun, watching baby. That's my flavor. I want the Cajun ones, baby.
The Cajun. That's what I'm talking about. A little bit spicy. So where take us from you back in the day, right? Writing music, being the rebel that you are, now kind of growing up a little bit, right? Your old family influences, your mom, kind of this different genre of things. Now you got a wife, right? Mm-hmm. Now you got a little girl, so there's different family influences now, right? Now you're kind of a grown man now and a brand ambassador. Where does the change happen? Like, where are you at? Like, where does the influences come from now? Like, take me through the transition.
It was right like when the pandemic happened. I think everybody kind of, which at least I hope they did. I hope that people got a little bit of clarity with the seclusion.
Great point
of that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I really did. And it came down to like, and we were, people were scared, man.
Sure.
Like people were scared.
Nobody knew.
Absolutely, nobody knew.
It was a state of confusion.
So it made me. I was like, and y'all know what I'm talking about. Where you're about to hit 40, and you're like, fuck, I'm getting old, dude. Like, and it really came from just like I was like, I'm gonna actually put in the work. Like people have told me my whole life that I'm good enough to do it. You know? Most people's story is they didn't. I was never good enough. People have always told me I'm good enough. I'm my biggest worst enemy.
Sure.
I mean,
your biggest critic.
Exactly. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And so right after the pandemic and all the quarantine and shit, I just started taking almost every, because people call me all the time. If there was an opportunity, I'd usually be like, I don't want to mess with that. I took everything.
Okay.
I was like, if you call me, most of it's bullshit. You know what I mean?
Right.
And some of it's waste of your time. And it sucks, but you take it and you keep going.
But you never know, right? You never know what you're going to get out of those situations.
That's right. It's also an opportunity maybe to work on your craft to get better, right?
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So it's actually not in vain. It's not bullshit.
So what ended up happening is they contacted my band first, and they were like, "Hey, this is kind of like a Bart Lattimore thing, kind of like with my solo stuff." They're like, you knocked this one out. And I'm like, all right. And they said, hey, we want you to write a jingle for us. And I was like, okay, I'll write a jingle about. And luckily, I love boiled peanuts. I grew up.
They are delicious.
Yeah, they're addictive.
That's a Southern thing.
Yeah,
So
dude, when you're driving down the highway and you're in that gas station and you see it, you're like, in your head, you're like, so many people have been probably in there. It's probably up there. You know what? I don't care.
Yeah.
I want some of those peanuts.
I got to get it. Yeah.
I want some of them.
So they, Pat Coyne, shout out to Pat, man. He's become kind of like Well, he wants me to say this. He's become a father figure to me.
He paid you to say it.
Daddy Pat.
Thanks, Pat.
He really has. I mean, you know, I was at his house this past weekend. We were just hanging out. You know, I took my kids and my mom over there.
Yeah.
We were hanging out on the lake, swimming, fishing, you know. So he hits me up and he's like, hey, man, you know, I've listened to some of your stuff. He's like, I'd like you to, you know, take a shot at this. And I was like, all right, you know. And so the funny thing is I wrote the chorus, which was going to be the jingle. I wrote it in like 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Because they gave me like Caviar of the South.
Okay.
They gave me points they wanted me to hit in the jingle.
Okay.
And then I built it. So I was like, man, and my wife was like, man, that's good, you know? And I'm like, yeah, and she's hyping me up. And I'm like, I'm about to send it to him. And she was like, no, don't send it to him. She's like, they're going to be like, 15 minutes later, they're going to be like, he just sent us something, you know? Yeah. So
wow.
I think I gave it a day, maybe 2 days, and then I sent it to him. And I've told Pat this. I've told Pat that I wrote that really quick. You know, I did it pretty quickly. And
so the wife is actually your marketing agent right
dude,
now because she's obviously the smart one, right?
She's like, that's just not ready, not time to release it.
Yeah, make them wait.
Yeah,
she's smart.
Yeah.
But yeah, and he was like, man, why don't you come out to the lake? Because he lives out on Tillery, and we were living in Almar at the time. Yeah. He's like, why don't you come out to the lake and, you know, let's hang out and let's talk about this, you know? So I'm like, all right. So I go out there, and, you know, I'm kind of a character already. You know what I mean?
You don't say.
You don't.
So,
yeah.
I mean,
seriously. I mean, we're talking.
So I get out there and you know, we talk and hang out, drink Crown and Cokes together, and you know, talk about how pretty much what we're doing now, how everything got started. And he's like looking at me. And he said, Bart, you're the guy. And I'm like, what do you mean I'm the guy? He's like, you're the guy that needs to sell these peanuts. And I was like, dude, I'm the guy that writes a song for the guy. Like,
Yeah.
and he was like, let's shoot a pilot commercial. He's like, let's just shoot a pilot. Because I was nervous.
You're talking about somebody that believed in this cat, right?
Dude, he
Eye
still,
for talent.
he still does.
Shout
too.
out
And
to Pat.
Yeah, shout out Pat Coyne. Shout out Coyne Industries, man. Those guys are. I mean, they're my family now, dude. They've really taken care of me.
Awesome.
And Peanut Patch. I mean, everybody. It's a family over there, dude. So everybody's just super sweet. Like.
That's important.
Well,
man.
that's huge.
And they make me feel bigger than what I really am. You know what I mean?
Well,
see that?
I know where you're going.
I hate when people say that.
Yeah,
Dude,
maybe they're making you realize exactly what you are.
Bro, you know what they're doing is they're peeling back that onion. You're that guy that's coming up on stage saying, "Oh, I don't know if I'm wearing the right thing." They're the ones saying you are wearing the right thing. That you every time that you have a doubt, right? The worst version of myself. Yeah. What's that line? Do it.
The only problem I have is when I doubt myself.
The only problem I have is when I doubt myself. The only bad things that ever happen in life is when I doubt it.
Yeah.
Okay? Yeah. I'm 10 feet fucking tall. You understand what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Listen, I'm not trying to say this to sound cool. I'm saying that when you jump into something, you got to jump all the way in, my man. Yeah. How fucking foolish would you look with half your body in the lake and the other half hanging onto the deck? Come on. So
or wearing a yellow polo with white capri shorts.
Yeah. Coming out, hey, I'm going to sing a Boys to Men song.
Somebody sent me those photos, by the way. I'll send them to you.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, and that's what I told you when you got back. I was like, man, Bart, dude, you were made for country.
You did tell me that. You told me that before anybody else. And I love country music, but I didn't play country music because I wanted to be an R&B singer.
But it wasn't even a country because it wasn't even a label of country. It was, man, you are. I don't want to put words on. I want to say rural. I don't want to say country. I don't want to say Stanley County. It was just like a down home flavor, right?
Digging frogs.
That's passionate. Just passionate about what you do. And that's, man, I don't care what genre we're talking about. I want to hear passion. I want to hear things that make things that make a point. Music that makes a point, lyrics that make a point, but also the passion.
Hey, it's kind of like that Johnny Cash movie, right? Where he's in there, I'll be, and they're talking about and the guy looked at him like, man, you're just singing the same old da-da-da-da-da. Yeah. And then he was like, oh, I got something. Let me hear something about you. And see, I think it's important to find that identity, right? And to isolate your identity, right? So you got this cat that believed in you so much, not just to bring you out to his place, not just to, but they want you to be the brand, right? Ambassador, the face of it, all these things.
And that didn't come till later on, but Pat always he always said that. You know what I mean? Because you know he's the marketer. He does the marketing, so it's all got to be approved by the company. You know, but he literally did believe in me the entire time.
And the thing is like I feel like when you get to a certain level in this industry, there's so many people out there who are trying to play a part, right?
Yep.
So how do you, as an artist who have sung songs that people feel that are real, right? How do you go from this is me in the raw to this is me as a brand ambassador? How do you make the next step and still keep who you are involved in that?
I built
good question.
with very good question with the help of
Thank you.
Of with the help.
I'd like to thank God.
First and foremost, I'd like to thank
First and foremost,
Lord.
I'd like to thank Lord.
Hello,
above.
America. It's me, your
Commander of the world speaking. Yeah.
But literally what it came down to. Sorry, man, I got a little
That's okay.
bird over here or something. Birdell.
Yeah.
And that's a wrap, guys.
No, what it is we built, like I said, with the help of Pat and Peanut Patch, we built the character around who I already was.
Okay.
So Boyle and Bart is Bart Lattimore, you know? I mean, and you know, in the commercials, I'll throw a little bit thicker of a country accent on, you know?
Yeah.
And another thing, that's just me channeling my Paul. That's me channeling Paul. So, I mean, you know, you remember him. He lived over there on, yeah. But that's me channeling my grandfather.
And that's great to say, though, about a company, right? A company that's a big company that can actually say, look, we want you to be who you are. We don't want you to change. We want you to be this person, and we can back you and everything like that. Shout out to them.
Absolutely.
You know, for being that type of company that can believe in you as a person, see the talent that you are or the story that you have, and say, man, we just want to broadcast that.
When they find
You
it,
know?
right? When they find it, and then you allow it in your world, and you allow to be vulnerable. You got to be a bit vulnerable sometimes to let people in, because sometimes you get to a point where people want you to play at their venues. People want to listen to your music. So how do you disassociate? How do you know that that's the right decision to make? Even though this happened years ago, how did you know it was the right decision to make?
You don't know. That goes back
Love
to
that.
goes back
Great
to
answer.
Yeah.
That goes back to like just taking every opportunity and hoping it pans out. I mean, you know, most time, I mean, I did a score one time for a movie. Okay, I spent 2.5 months of my life writing, and it was a proposal too that this guy DreamWorks was supposed to pick this movie up, and I never got paid for it. Now, you know,
Thanks for whoever the guy was.
Thanks, DreamWorks.
Yeah. And I don't even think DreamWorks had anything to do with it. Dog.
This guy was
They
dreaming.
said it was DreamWorks.
I think he wrote me in on that one. You know, I think he just But anyways,
Little Ponzi scheme type
you
thing.
know,
Yeah.
I've had it happen so many times. If the peanut thing was like just another, you know, if it was just another score for a movie, then I didn't really lose anything out of the deal. You know,
Yeah, you got that experience, right?
Yeah, but you had to kind of feel, right, that this was something different.
absolutely. I mean,
You know?
I hope one day you get to meet Peanut Pat, because I knew from talking to that guy, he's a creative too.
I mean, the thing
He's
about
a
it,
damn fireball, dude.
Yeah, I love that.
The funny thing about it is like seeing you and knowing you for 20 years, the things that I see on social media, right, that are just getting put out there. I'm like, this is Bart. Like, this is the guy. Like, this is great. I mean, they're doing good things with you, man. And I mean, and the thing about it is for you to not have to necessarily change who you are, and to be with a company that appreciates that. I mean, that's cool, because most of the time when you get with a company, they're like, well, we don't want you to do this. We don't want
shave
you
your. We want you to shave your beard down. We want you to.
We need you to lose 40 pounds. We need you to have the comb over.
And they give me 99.99% of free creative control.
And
That's
you can
important.
and you can tell that in kind of the advertising campaign.
Yeah.
You know, you can see that it's like it's fresh and it's you and things like
Yeah,
that. Man. It's
it doesn't.
funny.
Nothing seems forced on that deal, and I think we should play it at some point, just so folks can see it. If it's okay, if we got the the okay to do
Put
it.
it right here.
Yeah, right. Don't move your hand. Leave it there.
And now the
That
South's
picture right there.
and now the South's favorite snack.
That's a good plug.
All right, so
Oh wait, I did want to say one more thing about because I was going to tell you. So their main thing too is they're like, we want your music to do good. They're like, we want you to get successful.
That's dope.
Because that's gonna help their
That's gonna help their brand.
Absolutely, you know.
But they could have said, "Hey, we want creative influence on your next album." Right?
No, they would.
They could have said that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? A company could have said that.
Yeah.
Like they want full control. They want the talents.
Yep.
You know, if you will.
Absolutely,
You know,
the talents.
in you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But they didn't. So
Man,
good for them.
they're from Effingham, South Carolina. You know, right
Come
outside
on.
of Florence, man.
Let's
I mean,
go.
Yeah.
They're just
On the way to the beach, boy. Let's go. Come on.
what a better place to get boiled peanuts on the way to the beach.
That's for real.
Yeah.
That is phenomenal.
All right, so let's change some gears here. I told you I was going to throw you a curveball. This is one of the things about this show is either this guy or myself are going to throw some curveballs out here. So we got a little bit of a game we want to play with you. Okay, this game's going to be called Claim or Lame. And we're going to be
Claim or lame.
Hey, we're going to talk about. Listen,
I'm gonna take my second pour before we do this.
I'm going to take my second, fifth pour.
we will give you time to do that.
This is my second pour.
I know it is.
On camera.
I know it is.
I'm actually about to call him lame because he said 4 pour, but this dude's just now getting his second pour.
Man, I was trying to, you know.
The 4 podcast. The 4
I might go with pour number 3 for myself. All right.
Well, I'm enjoying this water, so.
Have you switched from coffee there, my dude?
I can blow my breath.
I'm not going to say that's homoerotic, but
Do it anyway.
Jimmy is driving all of us home, right?
yes.
All right. My wife's definitely coming to get me.
All right, so we're gonna play this is a kind of a pop quiz. We're gonna talk about new.
Pop quiz, hot shot. Sorry. It's from a movie. Go ahead.
We're gonna talk about a pop quiz. You weren't even ready for the throw. All right. Anyways, so pop quiz, claim or lame. We're going to talk about country artists or classified country artists of today.
I like
Are you
this.
going to claim them? Or are you going to say they're lame? I'm not claiming them.
This is getting gritty.
get me in
This is
trouble.
getting gritty.
All right. So
Whoever I say, disclaimer, whoever I say is lame, I'll still play on your album.
Yeah, I will still play at your show.
Yeah. I'm still open
he
for
really
you.
doesn't
I won't
mean
look
that.
you in your
We-
eyes, but I will still play at your show.
We actually wanted the real, so he does not claim that. All right. So artist number 1, Jelly Roll. Is that a claim or lame?
I'll claim Jelly Roll. Yeah,
Wow.
hell yeah.
Good.
Why are we
Good.
claiming him?
Because I don't think there should be, some people hate on him because he went from, I call it, hip hop or tractor rap.
Yeah.
But, I mean, dude, you can't deny the songs he's got.
No, I don't
you can't
think so.
deny his voice either.
I don't think so.
It's genuine.
I
So,
think there's a lot of passion there.
Yeah. I like Jelly Roll. You all right with me, homie?
We claiming him.
claiming.
So the thing about it is we're going to do the same thing. So it's not just a pop quiz for you; it's a pop quiz for us too, right? So you're claiming.
Oh, claim all day, man.
I'm
Jelly Roll
claiming,
was that dude.
and you're claiming. So that's
so we're three
that's a
claims
sweet
on that.
3 claims. All right.
Jelly Roll, you are approved by the Two Pours podcast.
By the 2 Pour podcast.
Seal of approval.
I just laughed in my second pour.
All right. So number two. So there's gonna be 5 artists. Here's number 2 of 5. Tyler Childers.
Oh yeah, I approve that all day.
Prove it. Claim it.
Claim. Nose to the
Claim, my
grindstone.
bad. Claim, yeah, claim.
So when you said this, I had to actually listen to his music, and I'm a claim too now. That's pretty good.
My dude put
pretty
me
good.
on to him, and he said, I know you don't listen to country or don't whatever, but listen to this
Yeah.
Nose to the Grindstone deal. And
Yeah.
Daddy, I've been trying, I just can't get. I mean, he went
Yeah.
hard, and you could hear him talking to his soul, talking to his dad.
Yeah.
I don't-
And it all kind of comes back to that same thing. It's all, it's authentic.
It's
When you care, you can tell.
You can
tell.
you can hear that shit. All right, so we're claiming. What's next?
So we're
What's
2 for 2,
next?
right? Number 3, Kane Brown.
Nah, he's lame. I mean, I think he's a good singer, but I mean,
He's a pop star.
he's and I mean, I don't want to knock on what anybody does. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I mean, I think he's a talented dude. But I'll put it this way: I don't want to call him lame, but I think he's a talented dude. I don't bump him in my car.
There you go. So lame. We're just gonna have a disclaimer out there. Doesn't mean that you're lame and you should jump off your house.
You don't deserve to die. Or anything.
Just not listening to you in my fucking wagon. All right.
Wow. I'm not saying you should run off the road, but I'm saying you should stop doing music because you're fucking lame. All right. So
Jesus.
That's me.
All right, go
I
ahead.
don't care. He's fucking lame. All right. Number 4.
I need you to shut the fuck up.
Kane Brown. I need you to shut the fuck up because you're fucking lame.
You're not the boss of me.
All right, go ahead.
I just want to say, Kane Brown, I like you, dude.
I don't. You're fucking lame. Shut the fuck up.
Oh God.
All right.
Bless.
Number 4. Luke Combs.
I claim him. He's North Carolina.
North Carolina to the heart.
I love Luke Combs.
I'm gonna be
songs.
honest with you. I don't know who he is, so I'm not.
Really? You don't? Okay. All right. Hey.
I don't. I mean, I don't know. What,
Monday morning, Lord, she woke up a fighting man.
yeah,
good,
it sounds dope. I'll claim him just
Some
because of
things
that
are
right
better-
there.
Some
Claim
things
a
are
Luke
better
Combs.
together.
I'm gonna claim
I'm gonna say it because I can't sing it.
Yeah.
You know, some things are better together. But
Don't
Luke
ever
Combs,
sing again,
fucking
Jason
claim.
Bridwell.
Yeah, I can't sing with Bart here. I told him I was going to sing on every episode. Some bullshit. No, I'm not going to do it. No, absolutely not.
I'm gonna start throwing this bottle of
Luke
Clyde
Combs-
May's
hey,
bottle of the episode.
Luke Combs is a claim.
Who's
though.
next?
Morgan Wallen.
I'm gonna claim him.
I'll claim him.
I'm only gonna claim him. Well, you know what? I like his music, dude.
His music's good.
Yeah. I mean, I don't really like pop country, but Luke Combs and Morgan both. They're putting out some fire, dude. When you're putting out double EPs or LPs back to back like that, you're putting in some work. He works hardest.
Dude, my wife has never been a country anything, and I walk into whatever fucking song that, and she's in there singing, and I'm like, what's going on?
And that's the thing.
It's
like,
Morgan Wallen.
Yeah.
So, you know, all right.
Son of a bitch.
Being on the single side, y'all don't know, but every chick on Bumble, Morgan Wallen. So the meat riding that's going on, he's lame. But if all these chicks are claiming him, whatever, I might go to a concert.
If you go on Bumble and you see Morgan Wallen, you gotta claim him.
because most of them, I'm gonna say he's lame.
If you want to get me Bumble butt,
I don't even know what I've been out of the game too long. I don't even know what the fuck Bumble is, bro.
so which
never
way do you
mind.
swipe on Bumble? Do you like buzz or what do you do on Bumble
That's
to get
right.
one?
It's a buzz or pass.
Yeah.
That's what it is, you know. So both of y'all passed on that one. So good for y'all. All right.
Gotcha. So
All right,
that's
next.
it.
No. All right. So, Bart, we talked about this kind of even on the pre-show for the people who are subscribers who actually hear that, but you had a kind of a big announcement.
Yeah,
to
man.
make
And you know what?
that
This
you're-
is going to be out after it anyway. So,
Okay.
because of Daddy Pat, Daddy PP, Peanut Pat,
Peanut Pat.
dude, and this is why I love him. He
Yeah.
calls me. He's like, "Hey, are you sitting down?" I'm like, "Yeah." And he said, "Carol's with me," which is his wife, and his son was on the line as well, which he works. John, I love John. Shout out John.
Yeah.
He they were all on the line. They were like, "We got you and your band playing at Carolina Country Music Festival."
No freaking way. Seriously?
Hell yeah, dude.
Wow.
I didn't know what you
Bro,
were going to
that's
say. I was waiting for the
crazy.
announcement, right? Really?
Yeah, dude. Yeah, we've been keeping real hush hush, but
Good for you, man.
that's
huge,
yeah.
dude.
We'll be
Say it again. What's going on?
Carolina Country Music Festival Thursday, June. What is Thursday? I don't even know what date it is, dude.
It's one of the dates
Next
in
week.
June.
next week.
Next
week.
Thursday.
Yep. We are
Okay, this coming Thursday, wherever you're
the
at.
Old North
Yeah.
State will be on the Crown Royal stage, and we got a 30 minutes.
That's June
30-minute
8th.
slot.
June 8th.
June 8th.
June 8th.
Yeah.
June 8th. Okay.
Dude, that is fucking huge,
huge.
news, man. Well done to you and the band.
Tracy Lawrence plays, and then after us, I know Tracy Lawrence and Hardy are playing. Hardy's headlining Thursday, the kickoff
Wow.
show.
Wow.
And
That's a big-
And they're letting me play a solo show too on Saturday on the Zen stage at 5 o'clock.
Okay.
5 o'clock.
5 o'clock. 5 o'clock. The Zen stage.
Zen
5
stage, 5
o'clock.
o'clock. I think you could get there going due west. You'll find them rocking and rolling.
This is Officer Brian Stickley. But
Bart
yeah, man,
Lattimore.
dude. So yeah, we got.
That is huge.
I mean, I'm
That's
beyond
massive, man.
Yeah, dude. I'm gonna be backstage, and I'm sure they're gonna be in their tour bus, but I'm gonna try to find Brooks and Dunn and just shake their hands, you know.
Yeah, old Kick Brooks.
Yeah, man, I can't wait, dude.
Well, think about it, man. Like all this work that you've put in, and you know, it keeps coming into fruition in different ways, right?
Absolutely.
You know, there's some people that get that just overnight, just boom, overnight they get it. They get that stardom. They get that viral moment, right?
And it's like, and with what happened after the pandemic, what it comes down to is I take every achievement and accomplishment, I take it as a small victory,
Okay.
and I celebrate it, and I'm thankful for it, and then the next day I move on.
Better think before you say it. Sometimes you can't come back. And all that money couldn't save you, buddy. You're writing checks your ass can't cash.
I think everything that we wanted to hit on, I think everything that we communicated about before, I think we touched on a lot of that and more. And I think that's the biggest part of this platform that I love. I love the fact that our first guest is somebody that we actually have known growing up. And seeing what you've done, I remember just watching what you did as a youngster. Like, this dude, me and him will talk about, this dude is fucking mad.
Just
it's crazy how good he is.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
No, I think even though I should do it because I'm obviously better at it, right? I want you to facilitate the party shot.
I'm not agreeing with that.
Okay.
Let's go ahead.
Did you say okay? You
No,
said
I
yes?
didn't. I said okay for the transition.
You did say okay.
I said okay for the transition.
Let me tell you this. I love the way I love the way you end the show. I want you to go for the parting shot. I want to know what you're about to say because I have no idea.
Yeah.
Let's go.
You don't. And I don't know how I can actually come back from your parting shot from the last episode that was so heartfelt.
Thank you for that. Yeah.
Just basically I didn't end it, you know. And we've talked about going in on companies, right? Our parting shot basically is something that we care about, right? To the fullest extent, right? Mm-hmm. Something that's actually meaningful to us.
Sure.
And the first two parting shots that we've had have been somewhat negative. Mm-hmm. But on this one right here, I didn't want to go negative.
Okay.
I actually wanted to go positive.
Okay.
And to me, I wanted to actually express the attitude of gratitude.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Right. So I think this needs to go into, and this will go into our changing the mindset episode, right? So, we're sitting there. We need to learn how to give thanks for everything that comes about in our lives.
Okay.
Right. Not everything is positive. You know, we can't control what life throws at us. Okay. But we can control a few things. Mm-hmm. We can control our attitude. We can control our reaction to things, you know, and we can control our actions going forward. So I feel like everybody out there listening needs to do what they need to do to stay positive. Addition by subtraction. If we need to cut people off of, out of our lives, cut them out that's negative, cut them out that's hating, cutting out that's just a negative influence in our lives.
A non-connective tissue.
Yeah.
Just get them out.
Yeah, we just need to get them out of there. Cut it and move on.
You need to cut it.
I told you, like, this is like the
Feels good.
fourth time that I've told you never to say that again.
It feels right. It feels right. Zing.
It's not even current anymore.
But people are still like, wow.
It's like, oh, you remember that song from 5 years ago?
No, I don't either, but Jimmy's going to fucking remind you of it.
Oh, God bless, it felt right. Anyway,
No, but I mean,
attitude of gratitude.
just being positive, regardless, if whatever it is out there, find your support group. Find something that's positive for you, whether it's therapy, whether it's church, whether it's just a group of friends that actually matter and actually are doing positive things in your life.
And look within your family too, man.
Yeah.
That's where I find my solace, dude. That's my support group, you know?
Is your family.
Absolutely, dude.
Yeah.
I love that.
Well, I mean, and if you got family who's kind of all pulling in the same direction, right? Then they can back you up. You know, they can be kind of your crutch, so to speak. I mean, because nobody's 100% strong, right? We all have our weak moments.
Right.
We all have our moments where we need people. The problem is that when people are too prideful, right, and they can't say, "Oh, well, I don't need help. I'm too strong." But you do need help, right?
They don't even know that they're so mentally fractured that they're broken into little pieces everywhere. But you got to find your peace,
and it's okay. Yeah. It's okay to admit it, right?
You got to find your peace. Positive energy activates constant elevation. That's peace. I love it. You've got to find that, and you got to find that little piece inside yourself through conduits of other people. I think, and digging into family for that conduit, absolutely. Great. Digging into to friends, and great. Digging into music for it.
Yeah.
Some people need that, right? Yeah. But having that attitude of gratitude, being able to thank someone, right, for something, I think is huge.
Well,
right?
It's not only that, it's, very analytical people, right, will start out their day, and as soon as they open their eyes, as soon as the feet hit the floor of their bedroom, they're constantly thinking negative, right? Or what am I going to have to deal with, right? What am I going to have to deal with in this day? What can bring me to this day? Have you ever thought that maybe I should start out the day of giving thanks for what I have, right? Opening up the day, thank you for allowing me to be able to put my feet on the floor. There's people listening to this podcast right now that are going to be confined to a wheelchair, that they don't have that feeling of their feet hitting the floor. There's going to be people who are hearing this who don't know what it is to stand up. There's going to be people hearing this who don't have the ability to see the phone that's in front of them. There's going to be people hearing this at some point in their lives might not be able to hear this. Give thanks for everything you got. If you can start out the day giving thanks, just spend 5 minutes saying, whatever it is, to whoever you want to give thanks to. I give thanks for being able to put my feet on the floor. I give thanks for being able to open my eyes. I give thanks for being able to hear these words that I'm actually speaking out into the world. Thank you for being able to allow me to have a job. Thank you for allowing me to have a 401k. Thank you for allowing me to be able to sing. Thank you for allowing me to be able to play an instrument.
Come on.
Thank you for allowing me to be able to draw something or create something out of nothing. Because there's 99% of the people in this world can't create on their own. I can't draw a fucking stick figure. You know what I mean?
This is a fact.
But there's... Yeah, that's true, actually. But there's people out there who can create masterpieces. There's people out there who can be able to write guitar lyrics and write songs and things like that. Give thanks. How about you spend 5 to 10 minutes each day giving thanks to the things that you can actually do that the average person cannot do?
Absolutely. So finding that time to be positive. Positive attitude, ultimate gratitude, actually thankfulness. Right,
yeah. Positive attitude,
mindfulness,
mindfulness,
an attitude of gratitude. Hey. And another thing too, it's almost impossible to be negative when you're giving time to something else. If you spend your life, we talked about it on the pre-show of volunteering, right? When I was a teenager, I remember volunteering at a nursing home on Beatties Ford Road in West Charlotte. I mean, the government said that it was actually community service. I thought it was volunteering.
Nah, you had papers to go to that place, bro.
But I remember going there and giving my time and hearing stories of people who don't have other people to tell those stories to.
Right.
Spend the time. Give yourself. Give the moments. Give back. Do something that matters. It's impossible to almost live in fear when you're giving your time, your effort, and your momentum towards positive.
You taking
things.
us to church. I'm going to tell you this.
I was about to put my hands up. Though.
Yeah. There's no way to to come after that and say anything that would have any identifiable measure to what you just said. Now I want to say this from the Two Poor podcast, Jason Bridwell and Jimmy Bass.
Yeah.
Two Poor podcast, right? You can find it on any platform, right?
Yeah.
I want to say
YouTube,
thank you to
Spotify.
Bart Lattimore.
Yeah, thank you guys, man.
I really appreciate the fact that
I want to say I love what you guys are doing, man. I'm proud of y'all too, man.
Thank you, man.
Thank you.
That means
Means a lot.
means a lot. And look, man, we're gonna wrap it up like that. Well done, well said, right?
Hitting the sky.
Hey, I'm great. I'm grateful and thankful for both of you guys.
There we go, man.
thank you, brother.
Let's take it out, man.
Love
Peace.
you, brother.
Yeah, man, I love
Yeah,
it too, man.
man. See you guys.
Very dope.
Catch us.
Look at this guy.
All that money couldn't save you, buddy. You writing checks you're asking cash. You don't look like you've even thrown no land. Well, Lord, you ain't got no time. Baby, you could try to Nashville. You couldn't hack it in Caroline. Well, hack it in Caroline. Maybe country means a little something different to you. But we can see right through whatever it is you're trying to prove. Think it's time you head on back to the place you left behind. You couldn't hack it in Caroline. We'll hack it in Caroline. You can't fake it till you make it. This boy just don't make sense. Trying to make $1 singing bocce blue collar. You're from the wrong side of the fence.